The internet can totally see you now, apparently. Hi, everybody. Nice to have all of you here. Everything looks good. And we'll move this here. And this here. And hey. Hello, everybody. We are live once again on this Friday, March 8th, 2019. As time flies, it's just incredible. In 12 days, I'll be the big 50 years old. So, which is Wednesday the 20th of March. So I'm enjoying my last 12 days as a guy in his 40s. Party time. Nice to have everybody here. And this is the Shortwave show. This is the radio show we have every Fridays. If you wonder what this is all about, this is a show. We are live, and we are live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And of course, we talk about radio. We talk about shortwave, medium wave AM. We talk about long wave. And of course, we digress into all sorts of subjects. Come on. I have my co-host, Mr. Paul the Cat, right here. So this is Mr. Co-host. Hey, Paul, look here. You just want to look there. Look there. Trying to have, your cat do whatever you want it to do. Forget it. Oh, man. So, anyways. Don't look at me. Look at the camera. So nice to have everybody here. And, of course, we are live every Fridays. 2000 hours Universal Time from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. My name is Gilles. And, of course, we are to entertain and have fun talking about radio. So, we got a few things we're going to talk about today. Of course, I want to talk about my famous medium wave catch that I was so surprised. So I was tuning around the medium wave band this week. I had fun with that, actually. It was, one of those evenings when you usually do your whatever you do. But that evening, that particular evening, which was, I believe, Tuesday or Wednesday evening, I think it was Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday evening. It was one of those evenings where you got all your radios, you got all your stuff around you, and you're like, I don't know what to do tonight. I don't feel like doing radio. Don't feel like watching Netflix. Don't feel like watching TV. One of those moments you're sitting down and you're like, wow, I've got all of these things and I don't know. I don't feel like doing anything like that. And so, of course, I decided, well, let's check it out. I started looking at me at Christmas, and I thought, hey, I'm going to tune around with the Toshiba, see what's on the bands. Shortwave wasn't, just with a telescopic antenna, shortwave was not really good. So I decided to go to the medium wave band. And I decided I'm going to go to the medium wave band, and I'm going to try listening to. So I would tune around the frequency, and, on the medium wave band, you often tune. You hear stations, and often you hear 2, 3 stations. Sometimes it's one, there's one in the background. And I was thinking, I'm going to try to DX and see what are, when you tune a frequency, if you have that super strong station, null it out by turning the radio. And I thought, I'm going to try to ID those that are in the background. Those that, reek in the background. There must be a way for me to ID these stations. So I started tuning around way down. I believe I started at 530 kilohertz, and slowly moving my way up in the frequency range of medium wave. And when I would hear a station, what I decided to do is use my tablet computer, my little tablet, and I would actually Google the frequency, and it would bring me to a Wikipedia page that had the list of all the stations on that frequency from US and Canada. And so I would look at that, I would look at the list, and I would say, okay, which ones maybe I'm listening to or not, which ones are possible by distance, power level. And I used my Samsung phone, and what I would do is I would look at the tablet. Okay, this could be this station from that place. I would go on my smartphone, on my Galaxy S9 phone, and using the browser, I would go to the station's webpage, and I would start the streaming from the webpage, and I would compare the streaming and what I was listening to on the radio. And like that, I was able to ID a lot of stations, including more than one stations on some frequencies, and where they were from. And it was a lot of fun. And I was able to ID some stations. But then, the big surprise came, it was around midnight local here, 0500 UT. I tuned 670 kilohertz. And I heard what was the national anthem of Cuba that you hear sometimes on Radio Havana Cuba and on Radio Rebelde, Shortwave. And I thought, whoa, Cuban national anthem, okay? And in two programs that were in Spanish. So my first thought was not towards Cuba. My first thought was, there must be a Spanish language station not that far off in Canada or the United States that maybe has some kind of Cuban programming and they played that or something. But the more I looked and listened to, the more I was actually looking at, oh, really, Radio Rebelde is on 670 kilohertz. And I had, when I searched on Google, I had a lot of YouTube videos of people in the US getting Radio Rebelde 670. Of course, I went to the Radio Rebelde page and streamed it from Cuba, and I could hear that it was the same program. So finally, knowing that Radio Rebelde is on 670 kilohertz and being able to listen on the phone, on the stream, and online on the radio, the same program, well, it convinced me. Well, I'm listening to Cuba, which is the first time I ever locked Cuba on medium wave here in Montreal. And worst yet, just with a little portable receiver and the little ferret antenna inside it. No fancy antennas, no outdoor wires. I was amazed. And I think I listened to Cuba for like at least 25 minutes before going to bed. I was like, wow, this is so cool, just in case I don't hear it again. But, it was up and down, because on 670, there's a really strong station off of Toronto, Canada. And at first, that's what I was tuning around. I was tuning to that Toronto station on 670. And even though I probably heard it before, it was the first time I tuned that Toronto station, actually. So, or knew that 670 was one of those clear channels with that Toronto station there. So, it's when because I could hear there was something else on the frequency. It's when I turned the radio to null Toronto that I heard Cuba. So I was like, wow, this is so cool. Hearing Cuba on medium wave. So that was my highlight of the week. Hearing Cuba on the AM band was a big thrill and a lot of fun. And actually it even kind of gave me more, more ideas of tuning more of the AM band regularly with my radios, because I mean, I don't know, it kind of opened up my my eye of, you know what, you can DX further than the regular big gun stations you hear all the time on the medium wave. And I see posts regularly in different Facebook groups, people listening in to AM stations from really far away, and I'm like, wow. But they have these big loop antennas on doors and stuff. That's you're sometimes thinking, well, maybe I don't have the right antenna for that. But then again, that little Toshiba seemed to perform really well. And it's interesting because if you guys have seen the video on the channel, I actually compared it between my Sangean ATS 505 and the Toshiba RP-F11 analog. The funniest part is the Toshiba seems to be so much better than the Sangean at receiving medium wave. It was clear that the Toshiba could receive it better than my Sangean could. So it was really, very, very nice. And of course, I'm going to try that again, but with different receivers. So it's kind of fun. And, well, I mean, I'm still amazed at that reception today. Okay. And apart from that, I was a little sad. Canada Post tracking said that yesterday was saying that I would receive my 2 radios, the XH Data D808 and the RadioWow R108 today. And sorry, there's a lot of cat air. And finally, at around noon, they changed it for no. Well, finally, I'm gonna get them Tuesday, March 12th. So I was like, oh darn! I wanted to do an unboxing live. I think it would have been fun, but unfortunately, I'll get them next Tuesday. So you know, just a few days away to have these great radios. Honestly. Hey, there's a beautiful chat room for those that don't know, where you can actually talk with everybody. If anybody is wondering on at La Fin du Monde, that I've that is here. So cheers, everybody, whatever you're having. TOT, nice to have you on board. Buster Brown, nice to have you here. Dennis Bergetsy, nice to have you here. Matt MDK2, nice to have you on board. Max S. Strong, hello there. Bobby Burgess, nice to have you here from Morgan City, Louisiana. Matt is in Colorado. Mike Hanna, nice to have you on board, my friend. And by the way, the clock is perfect. I set it with WWV just before we started the show. We have the Vaults from Latvia, nice to have you here. Chris Freitas, nice to have you on board from Sarasota, Florida. Here it's sunny, but it's around 32 Fahrenheit, 0 Celsius. But next week, we're going to start to have warmer temperatures, and that is going to be cool, because we had a hell of a cold winter. Ray Lyle, nice to have you here from Southern Illinois, WA9211SWL is the shortwave call sign. What else do we have? We have, going down here. So, okay. Jack N9IIF, nice to have you on board, my friend. Juan Amigo, nice to have you on board from Barcelona. Pretty cool. Bobby Burgess has got some aircraft communications on VHF for the first time. Cool. D1DJK, nice to have you on board from Germany. Scott N5XTC, nice to have you on board. Marcel, nice to have you here. Mickey Dalmage, nice to have you on board from Sherwood Park. I'm not even drunk. Sherwood Park, Alberta. And they're getting hammered by 10 plus centimeters of snow. Yeah, we're going to have a mix of all sorts of crap this week. False, what noise level and dB do you have on 20 meter band? Man, on a 20 meter band, I would have to go to the 20 meter band, 14200, and the RF gain set close to maximum. I'm getting here. There's not minus 92.6 dBm is what it says, around minus 92, almost minus 93 dBm. I have a constant S6 noise from the S meter. So I don't know. Do you have a higher noise than you have with other receivers, Vaults? Just out of curiosity. What else do we have? Chris Freitas says, got another RTL SDR V3. Didn't think I needed, so I gave it away. But now I have a replacement PC. Surface Go 128 gigabyte, 8 gig RAM. So bought another one. Thankfully, they are pretty cheap. Yep, absolutely. Joe Rudman, nice to have you here. Paul, yeah, Paul is perfect. Paul is seems to be pretty good. He's enjoying. He's been going out more this week and because the snow did melt slightly, he can actually walk around a little bit in the neighbors' yards. So he's kind of a little happy now that he can go outside a little more. Ray Lyle says, seems like I just turned 50 this September. It's 53, and a new ICOM R8600. Cool. Sakura DX, nice to have you here from Japan. Pretty cool. And you're back from the sea. Cool. Nice to have you on board, of course. What else do we have? Radio Week signal work. Nice to have you here, my friend. I started putting Paul on the diet, by the way, which is very hard because now he's coming over all the time for food, but I want to have him lose a little bit of weight. He's been gaining more weight, and I think some of his, if I don't want to have Paul get all sorts of health problems, I think it's better to have him on a little diet here. Matambale, nice to have you on board from Colorado. Radio Marti in 9565 S9. I had on 17570 AWR from Madagascar. So it's kind of interesting. 16 meter band from Madagascar open at this time when you think that a lot of the path is darkness. Kind of nice. What else do we have? Brett Wayne, nice to have you here. KC2 and XP. TV Radio 72, nice to have you on board from New Jersey. Receive is Radio Wow R108. So what do you think of it? Do you like it? I'm getting mine apparently on Tuesday, according to Canada Post. It's going to be a lot of fun. Chris Freitas says, got to do more AM DXing this weekend. I hope I can get KMOX here, as I want to catch some St. Louis Cardinal games while I am in Florida. Much easier in Memphis. What else do we have? Al Catalan, nice to have you here. Bob Geis, nice to have you on board, Bob, from Long Beach, New York, and to DET. Brian Penny, nice to have you here. And yes, it was nice to meet you via Skype at the Winterfest. Absolutely, really enjoyed that, and it's always cool. Always cool to have more of a feel of who we are and who you are as a person. Even though we're not meeting in person, Skype is close to that. There's more of an interesting feedback with people. So it's kind of cool. It was really nice to meet you, Brian. What else do we have? Radio Locator. Yeah, I forgot about that website. I haven't been there in a long time. D1 DJ Case says, I love medium wave, especially on his Lextronics S3050DL. I want to try it with different radios. I know that a lot of people seem to tell me that the Grundig G5 portable that I've got is one of those really amazing medium wave and FM DX portables. So I need to try it with that too. What else do we have? So you guys have some buffering here. I'm just going to check out every aspect. No problem here. Everything's green here. So I guess it's some YouTube playing with the stream. YouTube isn't happy with me or something. Man. Ray Lyle says it's been cool getting some long wave on my Drake R8 this winter. Cool. Michael Langer, nice to have you here. David Arden, Gay J4 CMOI, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Okay. Well, it says, yeah, thought it's my local issue. Guess not. Because I have a lot of noise. My noise level in 20 meter band is quite high. in the city here, pretty much. What else do we have? Luis Arevallo, nice to have you on board, my friend. Just wondering, do you get KFI AM 640 signal in night? Here it's on 640. What did I get? I got a couple of. I don't know where I put my sheet of paper. I got my list of stations from the other day. Oh, it's over there. I'm gonna go and fetch it. So on 640, what I got here. This is what I have picked up on 640. The only station I was able to ID on 640 kilohertz was CFMJ in Richmond Hill, Ontario, which I believe is Toronto, Ontario. Oh, and I'm wrong on 670, by the way. I'm I mentioned the wrong station. 670, I got Radio Rebelde Cuba, but I got actually the big gun station WSCR in Chicago, Illinois, not Toronto. I'm sorry, should have looked at my notes. So 670 was WSCR in Chicago, Illinois, and when I nulled it, I got Radio Rebelde out of Cuba, which was very, very cool. What else do we have? Al Catalan says, last Saturday I've got my first shortwave radio from a flea market, a €5 with €5, tiny Sony ICF 5100. It works and I love it. You know, these Sonys, even those Sony analogs and all of that, they're pretty surprising, honestly. Very, very interesting. Yeah, I will try that, D1DJK. Use my S350DL. I've never tuned much of the medium wave band with it, actually. Joe Rodman, yep, 670 AM, the score in Chicago. That's what I got. WSCR in Chicago, Illinois. I got him. I got it wrong. David Auden says, have local on 640, but the Times Radio Rebelde covers it up. So it was really a lot of nice. A lot of fun, and you know what? It's bringing me my the idea of doing more DX of the medium wave band, honestly. Al Catalan, the long wire, actually a short long wire, the orientation does not change that much, but the longer the wire you have, the more the directional pattern of the wire is showing. But for the most part, you won't see much. If you know, like what I have here, for example, the 75 feet or a roughly 22 meter long sloper, isn't that bad. You know, it doesn't change that much the orientation that we'll have. But the longer the wire, the more it is directional. So at some point, if you really get a very, very long wire, or you know, anything that's a beverage, that would be very directional. TV Radio 72 has received Radio Rebelde on both 670 and 1180 before. Oh, nice. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try more. I gotta say, I was amazed and intrigued. So pretty cool. D1 DJK, my best catches were for this week. Radio Filipinas on 9925 1800. Wow, nice. Sri Lanka Broadcasting 1135 at 1730. That's good. These are stations that are very difficult here in North America. Yeah, David Arden, absolutely. It's and I was actually amazed when I used the ATS 505, the Sangean, with that digital display. I was pretty much convinced that it probably performed as well, if not better, than the old analog Toshiba. And to my surprise, the old analog Toshiba did much better. And that really, really made me... First, it made me show that I will test it out with others. But it showed me that, I mean, the Toshiba is an amazing radio for sure. Chris Ritter says 6:80 a.m. will be a challenge, but it can be possible. You might be able to hear them on TuneIn. I'm gonna try different. I'm gonna try a lot. A lot of medium wave. It made me have a lot of fun. It's interesting because it turned my boring evening where I didn't feel like doing much into a exciting evening where I just ended the evening like with medium wave fun and really having really a great time. David Snyder, I did try to. So here's the thing. My PCs were all shut down, and I didn't feel like turning it on and going into the software and everything. And I was in the living room with little portable receivers and having fun. I did tune around quite a lot of medium wave band with the SDR Play RSP1A for sure, and it seems to perform well. The problem is, I got a sloper for medium wave, which isn't really the best antenna. I get the big gun stations. I do receive the stations that come from the US at night. It seems to perform well. I got to be careful with the setting of the RF gain, because what I've noticed with the RSP1A is it tends to sometimes kind of overload and desensitize because the medium wave signals are too strong, and it's kind of creating a problem with the radio. So that is one of the drawbacks, but it does seem to work quite well though, for sure. Mad Radio DXer, nice to have you on board, my friend. I'm just going to go back here. I have I've lost my spot in the chat, and I won't try to go down as fast as I can. Okay. Okay, here we go. So we have Randy in Riverside, California. Nice to have you here. Andy RC. That is in the UK. Nice to have you on board. Is the Commonwealth contest this weekend? Oh, interesting. So that means the Commonwealth means Australia, Canada, New Zealand, all of these countries will be probably having a contest this weekend. I mean, if it's all the Commonwealth, so it means that it means here in Canada there should be some station contesting for that. Tony Turtle, nice to have you here from Michigan. Butterbean, nice to have you on board from East Georgia. Brent Dalglaze, nice to have you here from Brockville, Ontario. Nice to have you here, Brent. Gordon Treadwell, VE6 GPT, nice to have you on board. We're chatting about radio, medium wave, all sorts of little things. We're gonna go through every little thing, Johnny DXer, nice to have you on board, my friend. Brett Wayne says 7 seconds delay in Salamanca, New York. Pretty cool. Tony Turtle says yesterday I had emergency landing on the highway with a crop duster type plane. Wow. That is always kind of impressive. Joe Rotman, nice to have you on board from Chicago. And I was listening to that WSCR station from Chicago, Illinois on the other evening. Jerry Gonzalez, nice to have you here, KJ5C. Pretty cool to have you here from Tulsa, Oklahoma. What do we have? What do we have? Let me just bring down here. Okay. Al Catalan, just wanted to ask about Radio Wow and XH Data. Can't wait the comparison videos. I can't wait to have them next week, and I will compare the radios. I will also compare compare these with the same value radio, I would say. For example, the Radio Wow, I will compare it like with the Texan PL380. They are of the same price range. I'm curious to compare that. I will be comparing the XH data with D808 with my Texan PL680, also with my Grenic G5, which will be a nice test because up to now my Grenic G5 is the best shortwave portable that I've owned, and it's an amazing radio. Grenic G5, just really an amazing machine for a portable radio. So I'll be, of course, testing that out with that. That's for sure. Also, just wanted to compare with my RSP1A. Seems you have close to 10 dB over my pretty noise spot here in the house, and close to 20 dB compared to what I got in the forest. Yeah, for sure. I have a lot of noise. You know, I'm in a big, smack in the middle of a big city, and a lot of houses and a lot of people around me. So it's difficult to really DX from the city. It's fun to go out and do something else, you know, like in the forest or at least in a park where you're far away from the homes. Ronald Hester, nice to have you on board from North Carolina. KD4IJS, do you have 220 megahertz repeaters in Canada? Yes, absolutely. We've got one here in Montreal on 224.740 or something like that. Actually, I heard some activity the other day on the 220 megahertz repeater. People talking. It doesn't happen very often. It's one of those bands that almost nothing happens. Mark Fisher, nice to have you here from Southern Illinois. What else do we have? Let me just go down. I was going to go down. Corleone, nice to have you here. Trond F, nice to have you on board from Norway. Pretty cool to have you here, my friend. Keegan, nice to have you on board from Northwest Arkansas. XN80Xer, pretty cool. Joel Martin, nice to have you on board, Joel. From Oakland, California, K6AST. Nice to have you here. Pretty cool. David Arden says the Sony ICF 7600 is great for medium wave. Cool. Cool. I mean, you know, with all the radios I have here, it'd be fun one evening to test a lot of them and try to figure out which one is actually the best medium wave. The Grenic G5 I've heard is good on medium wave, but I've never tested it much except listening to the big gun stations. And so I need to check that out. I know it's an amazing FM radio performer though. A lot of people use the Grenic G5 for its FM DXing capabilities. TV Radio 72 likes the radio R108 so far. Great on FM and airband. Good on shortwave and medium wave. I don't get long wave stations though. Not in a good area for it. I will for sure check that out, and of course there will be a lot of videos of these radios in the next couple of weeks, and of course the full review. By the way, somebody asked me, when is your RSP1A review coming up? It is coming up soon, but it's going to be, the reason why I'm taking my time is I got full pages of notes, because it's going to be a big review, multi-part review. It's not just going to be one review. It's a multi-part review of the different aspects of the SDR. And also, of course, there will be a specific review on the VHF UHF channel for its 30 megahertz and above capabilities. So I expect to post that beginning of next week. I've got a lot of notes, and I got to concentrate all of that so that it will look and sound good when it's actually going to be online. Mr. Sparks 54, nice to have you on board. And from Utah, the Xing with is Ethon E1XM. Nice radio. Nice big radio. Nice big radio. Manuel Medina, nice to have you on board from Spain, La Coruña. And what else? Joe Rodman says the score 670. You can listen to the Cubs games. What else? I'm gonna try that out. The D1 DJK. You piqued my curiosity with that that S350DL. I actually put batteries the other day in it and tuned a little bit on the shortwave bands. But we'll try it out. Hey, Ray Lyle. I just bought this yesterday, Ray. I was downtown and I was looking for a good shirt, a good sweater to wear, and I went to like 6 or 7 different stores, and I saw this one, which really I found really nice, and it was in the price range that I like. So I bought this yesterday. Took a day off yesterday. I almost didn't do any videos. I decided to just enjoy myself a little bit, go downtown, have fun, and I had a great day actually. I had a lot of fun yesterday. And it felt good, you know, to take a day off of YouTube and all this stuff. I'm so much in YouTube and doing videos and stuff that at some point you're like overloaded with all the stuff that you do. And you know, being at home, working from home is cool, but it has a side effect that sometimes you get to a point where you're like, you know, I'm kind of bored, you know, at not seeing people and just being alone with myself, pretty much. So yesterday was nice, and I went to a bar to meet some friends at a bar at the end of the day, and had a chat and had a lot of fun. Came back home was maybe 10 p.m. Didn't come back very late. And yesterday I had blood test done because it's my annual checkup at the doctor's. So I had my checkup. So I had a blood test done yesterday morning. So vampires sucked my blood. Rob Webster, nice to have you on board, my friend. Always cool to have everybody here. I will try to go down as fast as I can. So, William Conlon, nice to have you here. Going far away from SDR, no luck with it. Sad, SDRs work quite well in general. Depends on the setup sometimes and stuff like that. Tony Turtle, my neighbor put up an extended ZF4 160 meter and hooked the end to a telepole. I don't think the electric company found it until a few years ago. Yeah, you know, here in the backyard I've used one of the telephone poles here in the backyard a few times. I mean, it happened quite a few times. Edward Turner, nice to have you here. Yes, my channel is monetized. I am getting a monetization of the channel. This channel isn't that monetized. I mean, it doesn't give me that big of an amount, but it is monetized, absolutely, Tony. But I will put the PayPal link up if you wish. PayPal.me/shortwave, or you can send, if you go to your PayPal, just send to the Yahoo email that I'm just posting. And thanks for your donations, guys. So, and thanks for proposing for the PayPal link and everything. And it's nice to have fans that want to keep everything up and running. And you know, I do have a lot of expenses to do this. I do have a pretty expensive internet connection in order to have it working well. And you know, there's all the equipment and the stuff that you need to keep up and running for it to actually work. And you know, PCs get old, and at some point you need to replace it, and you know, it all costs a lot of money. So if you do like what I do, as Edward has suggested. And thanks for being here, my friend, from Celebration, Florida, WD8NJR. What else do we have? Let me just check something here. Just check something here. Okay, it's okay. So, what else do we have? What else do we have? Ralph Bender, nice to have you on board. And no problem for the short stay. Mad Radio DXer says, I also have an Eaton E5, and it was my main radio for a long time before getting more advanced stuff like SDRs. Yeah, Eaton E5 is the same as the Grenic G5. They are amazing radios. Amazing radios. Manuel Medina is a Sony man radio. Bill Fennick, nice to have you here. AI6JZ in Oregon at the moment. Nice to have you here. Oh, Mickey sent me a picture of from the Winterfest. And here we go. This is what it looked like while they were watching the live show. If I can get it to just go here. Us watching you. Oh, this is nice. Look at that. Bunch of nice guys. Look at that. That's how they were watching. The little laptop on the table there. Really nice picture here. Really nice picture. Cool. That was nice. Really cool. Oh, Brett Wayne sent me a little picture. You know what? I almost purchased one this week, wondering if it was worth it. So you say it's pretty good. I'm going to check that out. It's not very expensive too. As Brett is sending me this little loop, which is the Texan loop. This is the Texan loop, and he's using it here with his Conicon GP5 or Texan PL365. I was wondering this week. I almost purchased one. So if you say it's good, I might be tempted to get one this week and try it out. Texan PL680, nice to have you here. Polycat is doing well. He seems to be going okay. So we're gonna. I haven't yet gone to the vet. I'm kind of observing and seeing because it's a lot of money. But anyways, I want to bring him to the vet for vaccines and stuff. Since he goes out all the time, I want to make sure everything's all right. Manuel Medina's got Sony SW55, SW77, and the 7600G, which are nice radios. Alton Byington, nice to have you here. K3JWA in Baltimore. Keegan has on 640 has either KWPN in Moore, Oklahoma, and WCRV Collierville, Tennessee. Kind of nice. Michael Mora, nice to have you on board from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Keegan also heard on 640 WOI in Iowa. Cool. Sometimes along with KWPN. Donald Hosmer says compare the D808 and the PL880. They are so close in features. Yeah, I don't have the 880, so I can't really compare it. But I'll compare it in with other shortwave receivers I've got here, though, for sure. Battery DXer says has Sony 7600JR and ICF 2001D, great solid radios. Cool. Marcel says heard on 25th of February. 9 Hai Phong radio USB 7906 Vietnam. So, interesting. Interesting. Where are you located, Marcel? Just out of curiosity. DE1DJK. People always say a WebSDR is the world band receiver only. and it's enough, that's okay, but it's not a real feeling of shortwave. You know, there's always a debate of online SDRs and listening in with real radios at your home. One of the things that you gotta understand is that I think both are fun to use. There's a lot of what's happening. There's a lot of stuff you can't hear in your local area. That having an online receiver is a great thing because it will let you tune in to all of that. And at the same time, there's you know, the possibility of comparing what you receive. And of course, if you're a big fan of radio, there's nothing like receiving stations with a receiver in your home or your own radio and your own antenna. It's not the same feel. It's absolutely not the same feel. But it's really a lot of fun to tune in the web SDR still. I think both are cool to have. And, you know, I think it's cool to have that resource for anybody that doesn't have any shortwave radios, honestly. What else do we have? Madam Bali, you might need an official medium wave channel. A long wave channel, too. Well, I'll just, you know, post it here. That's a great place for that. Who knows, Texan PL 680, if something bad happens, having a real radio will be a good idea. Where are all the receivers gone? Well, they're actually, the radios are kind of moving around. I am transforming my old, so if you guys remember about, what, 6 months ago, a little more than 6 months ago, I would do my live shows from the other side over there where radios were, and I had a pirate flag there, which I need some way to actually hang it up. I am transforming that side into a radio wall, basically, and all of them will be plugged in a way that they can actually all be ready and work from that spot. So I might be moving the Yaesu here to that spot there. Keep the icon here, and I don't know, do a few changes. That will be a big radio wall, a radio space, as long as here. But here I want to keep it more clean because I do videos from here and I do radio shows, and I'm going to try to keep this as clean as possible, not have something that looks kind of all messed up. So that's why some radios are missing right now. I've been moving radios around and checking out what I'm going to do. So there'll be some changes from time to time here of what things look like, for sure. Stardust, nice to have you here. This is Texan PL 680. Great radio. I love mine. Love mine. I wanted to use it the other day. The batteries were dead. The rechargeable batteries, they were very low because I had used it quite a lot over time, but I had not recharged the batteries in a long time. And so I think I had like 30 minutes of radio and it ended. So, but I've actually recharged. I've been going through recycling of my radios and recharging all the rechargeables, putting them back in, which is nice because when you've got these rechargeables that can keep the charge, what's really cool is that you can recharge them, put them in the radio, and even if you use the radio in a month and a half, the batteries are still good enough to power it up, you know, and that's pretty nice. Richard Pattison, nice to have you here from a wet and windy Germany. Love the shows. Thank you very much. Nice to have you here. Matt says, occasionally I've heard interesting things while medium wave DXing, but it's hard because American medium wave radio is so much of the same stuff wherever you tune. Hey, it's Coast to Coast AM. What station is this? That is one of the major problems of US stations, because you might be tuning, and that's why I always compare the frequency of my radios. So I had the Toshiba analog, but the problem with the analog, you're not sure where you are. You think you're at 630 kilohertz, and you could be at 660 kilohertz. So what I do is I always have, if I have an analog, I will always have a digital portable next to it, so that I can see on the frequency display what frequency I'm actually tuning on the receiver. But sometimes, I got fooled once. I remember, I think it was Coast to Coast AM. I remember listening to like 11, I'm just giving out frequencies here, like 1140 kilohertz, and listening to Coast AM, and I moved the frequency to 1150, and I didn't notice, but it was still Coast to Coast AM. And I was thinking, well, I'm listening to that station from that area. But in reality, my radio was 10 kilohertz higher on another station that had the same program. So you don't know you've changed frequency. It's the same program. You think you're on the same frequency. And there's a lot of these happening. In the US, even here when I listen to stations from the US, in a scan of the medium wave band, the number of times you get to a medium wave station that has the same program multiple times. Multiple. You hear that guy talking about conspiracy theories of something, then you go up, 30, 40 kilohertz, and you get another US station that carries the same thing. You recognize the guy's voice and what they're talking about, and then you move up. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, they were talking about North Korea. I think I heard 8 different frequencies with a US station that had the same program talking about North Korea with the same guy. And I was like, whoa, this is nuts. It's like the same program everywhere. But, of course, there are different cities and different markets, but they have the same programming. And sometimes you can actually be fooled by that. Absolutely. Totally. Michael Fuka, nice to have you here. Sporting Texan PL 880 in Central Louisiana. Nice to have you on board. Al Callan says, so I was watching YouTube on my phone, a Huawei P20 Pro, and have the radio close to the phone. I was hearing the voice from the phone on the shortwave radio, not clearly. It happens. You know why? Because these devices have oscillators for the different circuits. And some of them are broadcasting in a very low power. Some of the stuff that that's happening in your phone. So it's possible. It's possible that there's an interference from one of the oscillators that actually recreates the voice on your radio. I've had that happen with different electronic devices over the year, for sure. D1 DJK, I think, like Sony, like many other companies, I think all companies do that, have great receivers, but they do have bad radios. Every company has bad radios. Now, some more than others, but it happens. Hey, Carl, nice to have you here, my friend. Ray Lyle says it's satellite, Grandic Satellite 800. Great on medium wave, great on FM also. Cool. What else do we have? Let me go in here. Just go back down a little bit. Okay, there we go. I'm going to go down as fast as I can, try to reach up. I'm far away in the chat room, but nice to have you all here. If I miss out a name or somebody, I will Just say hello again. Give me time though. I'm going down the list. Nope, Vaults. It's my adventures at Microsoft are a thing of the past, and it's my own decision. William Collins says, New elect SDR breaking my heart. Back to real radio. Sad to hear. Sad to hear. So what else do we have? So yeah, that's what I was showing the loop. Pretty nice. Brent, thank you very much for the nice comments on the great YouTube videos, and of course more and more to come for sure. Mr. G, nice to have you on board. No problem if you're late. Lou Rubens, nice to have you here from Florida. KJ3LR. Trond F, can you please tell me what other videos you have on YouTube? I've got, well, interference suddenly. Somebody's using something. So I've got this Shortwave channel. I've got a VHF UHF channel, which is official VHF UHF channel. I've got one for Windows, and it's called Windows and Computers, which is one of my most popular channels. Though this one here, the Shortwave one, is quite popular too. But the Windows channel is more popular, much more. And I've got one for Windows Insiders and stuff. I do that from time to time. I'll repost a video on the different channels talking about the other channels I've got. Sometimes that cross promotion makes people on a certain channel realize, oh, the guy likes Shortwave. Or the other day there was a guy in my Windows channel that posted a comment and said, I recognize your voice. Are you the guy from the Shortwave channel? Because you sound like him. And it's like, yeah, I am. Al Catalan, any thoughts on the Sony AN LP1 active loop antenna? A lot of people that I know that have it seem to actually enjoy it and really find that it's a very, very good one. For sure. Tony Turtle says a lot of stations using their Novus gear on 40 meters, running low power CW and 7110 kilohertz. What else do we have? Let's go down. Let's try to go down as fast as we can. Hey, KC Red Dragon, nice to have you here. Luke Little, what's the best software for SDR RTL on Windows 7? It depends what you like. You can use it with SDR Sharp. My favorite for the RTL SDR was HD SDR. There's also the SDR console software. That's interesting. But my favorite was HD SDR. Dixon PL680 says the one issue I had with it is that it magnifies a lot of noise, so make sure you're using it in a clean environment. Yeah, well, you know, most radios do that. D1 DJK, I never had a Sangean, but the 909X looks very good. Charmin World Band receiver, and I think it's one of the best radios. It's deaf a little bit. The 909X is a deaf radio, like the original 909. But on the long wire, it's very, very good. But it is a little deaf. It's not as up to par as other shortwave receivers. PA1WX from the Netherlands, nice to have you here. Marcel uses free radio receivers sometimes, including the U20 receiver. Mike Kane, nice to have you here from Bedford, New Hampshire. Matt, yeah, 5995. I so many times, because Radio Mali on 5995 for years, and I don't know what it sounds like now, but for years I've heard the carrier 5995 quite strong actually sometimes. Problem is, there was no audio on it. For years there was no audio on it. So did they fix that? Because that for me is not an exceptionally difficult one, but there was no audio for so many years. Maybe they fixed it and now do we hear something. So, and yes, China Radio does use a Mali transmitter from time to time. So, 13630. Let's check it out here. Yeah, 13630. I do hear something. $13,630. Just gonna check. There's a lot of variation in the signal here for China Radio 13630. What do I have here? Right now, 13630. I've got. Interesting to see that 13630 doesn't have any listing. Doesn't have no listing at all of China Radio. Interesting to see they don't have it that's listed here. Huh. Interesting. David Arden, wow, just got interrupted for an ad. Was only... Yeah, you know what? There's last week also somebody sent me an email saying that somebody said that there was an ad during the show, like smack in the middle, and they were wondering what the hell is happening. And I said, I don't know, maybe it's something that YouTube have changed, or because I have the possibility to actually have, I have a button here that I can click that displays ads in the middle of the live show, but I never use it. But apparently some people last week told me, and it was the first time somebody talked about that they had seen an ad in the middle of the live show. And I was like, oh, that's weird, because I don't use a button. Maybe YouTube is getting more aggressive or something. Ray Lyle, yes, WWV is getting their funding, no problem. Absolutely. Calvin, nice to have you here, and pretty cool to have you here. What else do we have? It is William Conlon. You're not using it right. The new elect, I believe, has a you have an offset to set up. If you don't put the offset in the software, you're not going to tune shortwave. I believe there's an offset in the new elect. So when you want to tune the shortwave bands, you have to go in the software and turn on the offset. I don't know on the new elect what the offset is exactly. But without that, you'll never tune the shortwave bands. It does tune it. You're just not using it right. I think I haven't set the offset correctly. Max Edstrong says 909X seemed to be on par with my Sony 7600 JR on AM sensitivity. The sensitivity that I'm talking on the 909X is on shortwave. I don't know about medium wave, how it performs there. Actually, I should test out mine old 909, which is a Radio Shack DX398, and see how it performs in medium wave. Redwin says the little loop works well, so I'm gonna check it out. Really nice. What else do we have? Beckifter Panda, nice to have you here. Anyone, Michael Langer says, anyone using the Bose loops? I don't know. What else do we have? Eddie Essex, nice to have you on board, my friend. Ricky Spanish, nice to have you on board, my friend. So Marcel's located in Amsterdam. Okay, thanks for the location in the Netherlands. Jano, nice to have you on board from Poland. SO6AFP. Pretty cool. Nice to have some Polish listeners or viewers. Matt says online SDRs are a great thing. Are great for things like BBC broadcasts of Premier League matches, which never seem to be relays that can be copied here. I like to use them for a lot of the stuff that I don't hear over here. Matambali says Radio Exterior España 9690. Let's check it out, 9690. Pretty good too. Yeah. Very strong with some music here. Absolutely. Makes that strong medium wave channel, yes. Mick, nice to have you on board, my friend from cool and damp East Midlands and England. Flash 178. How's it going acquiring a Canadian amateur radio license? Coming up soon. I got so many things together. I have absolutely to sit down and get it and get it soon. Don't worry, guys. I'm getting it this year. I'll be there. I'll just have to find 2 minutes to settle everything. Nice to have you here from Hamilton, Ontario. D666, nice to have you here. Brand new to the hobby and your channel. Very much appreciate sharing your knowledge. An amazing resource. Off the top of your head, best radio with sideband under 200. There are quite a lot of them. Honestly, I would say a Texan PL680 is great. A Texan PL660. You can the XH Data D808. Even though I don't have it yet, I'll have this one on Tuesday. Everybody seems to love it. There's the oh wow! If you can get a Digit DE1103 is good. I don't know. Just going fast like this. These are a few models that are really nice. That you can get, some on Amazon, some on eBay. Kevin Wood, nice to have you here. VE1 TV in Nova Scotia, Canada. Johnny73 says, I'd rather see radios at the back than empty shelves. I will have some stuff in there. It's just moving things around here. What else do we have? Matt says, those Amazon Basics you have, do you use the high capacity ones? I got, so the ones I have, I've been purchased like 2 years ago now, at least 2 years ago. And they are they are regular 2100 milliamp hour. And work really well. I've been having a lot of fun. But I did see the other day, I was watching, I was looking at on Amazon, and I did see that they had the high capacity ones that are also apparently keeping the charge. I would need to buy. I need a few more because I've got AA rechargeables that are older than 10 to 15 years here that are starting to show signs of getting old. Don't keep their charges as good. Some of the chargers that I use don't want to charge them. They blink, kind of telling me that there's something wrong with the battery. So I need to get myself maybe another set of maybe 8 or 16 AA's, rechargeable AA's to replace the old ones that are like 20 years old, for sure. More bothered about missing the Jolly Roger than the absent radios. Brent, Gilles, are most SDRs the same, or is it worth spending a bit more to get a better device? They're not all the same. There's a tremendous, like regular radios, there's a tremendous amount of differences between receivers. And yes, price kind of matters at some point. But if you have to buy one and you don't have that big of a budget, for roughly $100 to $120, $130, the SDR Play RSP1A is amazing. You can't go wrong with the RSP1A. You'll be happy. You'll have a great radio, and it's a wideband radio. And I mean, it's just I'm amazed at it, actually. Man Reader DX, the show is always complete when Paul the Cat been on. He was on at the beginning, the first couple of minutes. Walkerbot 39, nice to have you here. Radio Comms, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool to have everybody on board here. I'm trying to go a little faster. What else do we have? What else do we have? Going down, guys. I'm just trying to just join the chat more in the actual real time. So if you guys have, by the way, if you guys have sent a question and you haven't responded back, or said hello and I haven't said hello back, let me know. I just might have gone a little too fast here. What else do we have? What do we have? Redalba 65, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Jeffrey Crop, nice to have you on board from New Hampshire. Randall Clontz from Northeast Illinois. Pretty nice to have people here. Andy Coley, nice to have you on board. William Cullen, can I get 252 from Ireland at any time? I've got too much noise in my long wave band here to DX at all. This is a total impossible task here in Montreal. Matt, yeah, 12790 around 1278889. There's some winter fags there. Absolutely. D1DJK, yes, I do have a beer, and he's got some German red wine. So cheers, my friend. What else do we have? Yeah, Brent, very important. If you have Google Chrome, make sure you get the latest version. A huge security flaw in Google Chrome browser. Make sure you guys update to the latest version to stay safe. And it's even worse. It's even worse if you have Windows 7, because it also has a security flaw. And both together are just crazy. Vault says, try to decode the DRM 7545, getting a few moments where it manages to decode. Oh yeah, the signal to noise ratio for decoding the DRM is very, very tough. It's very, very difficult. Really, really amazing. Bill Phoenix says, your comment on radio manufacturers agreed with the possible exception of aircraft. Granted, it's a ham gear and very pricey, so probably not commonly used for strictly shortwave. Yeah, there are some companies that make high-end stuff, and they only make, they don't make a ton of high-end stuff. They concentrate on a few models. So it's when that happens, they usually are pretty good. But for a lot of manufacturers, there's good stuff. There's also bad stuff for a lot of them. Brent, yep, the RSP1A review will be multi-part videos, and they will be coming early next week. I've taken tons of notes and kind of put everything together. Okay, so Radio Mali, yes, was very nice signal the other day. Okay, cool. F4 IDL, nice to have you here. So Max Headstrong says newer 99X seems to be better. I've heard this from several sources. Because I've seen a review of a guy that has one that has the original one. And I've seen quite a few posts of people mentioning that their newer 909X is as deaf as the original 909 of the time. It does receive. It's not totally deaf, but on a long wire it works well because it doesn't overload. But I've seen a lot of people, so I don't know. I would have to check one out. So you say yours seems to be okay. Interesting. Thierry Arsenault, bonjour, bienvenue de la Gaspésie. Nice to have you here from the eastern part. Oh, Brent got the ad too, and that's interesting. So you guys got an ad. This is weird. VE2 VMA, of course. So, oh, the new ELEC RTL SDR. Okay, so you need the up converter. Okay, so if it doesn't have the up converter, then you cannot get the shortwave bands. You need an up converter. Okay. Chromite Bear, nice to have you on board for monitoring 40 meters. So nice to have you on board, my friend. Pretty cool. Radio Week Signal. This is another great show. Pat K7LNP. Nice to have you here in Utah. We saw a lot of vids about QFX radios, but never buy one of them because they are all junk. You know, QFX, I got a few QFX portables here that are usually very cheap in price, and they are crappy. They are very, very crappy radios. Here, I got one here. If you get yourself a, this one's the Cade, but it's the same thing as the QFX. It's a QFX, there's a QFX version of this one. This is total crap for listening to anything. The only one that I find decent, and it's because of the price I paid and the looks, is the boombox, the QFX J21 that I've got here, that plays 4-track cassettes, shortwave, can play MP3s off of a USB dongle or a SD card. It's okay, but it plays. Even though it has 2 speakers, it plays the music in mono, which is what the hell, and it's just crazy. They are very cheap. QFX stuff are down there at the bottom of all the crap. Donald Mayotte, nice to have you on board. Thanks for your content. Thanks for being here. Phoenix Xenakis, nice to have you on board. There's absolutely no problem there for being late. No problem there. Ivan Psika, nice to have you on board, my friend. David in Barcelona, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm going to try to go a little faster. I'm really far in the... I've been really, really far from the chat. Matt says, they consider those high capacity. The standard ones are 850. Oh, I've got 3100. 2100. Because the ones that I've seen high capacity were 2400s or higher. So, okay. Because I've got the 2100 milliamp hour nickel metal hydride ones from Amazon Basics, and they are amazingly good here. They really hold their charge. What else do we have? Going down slowly. I'm getting there. Hey, Jerry DX, nice to have you on board. If I missed anybody, please say hi again. Bob T, nice to have you here. Yeah, or you know what, Edward Turner, just go to your PayPal and just send to the Yahoo email that I just posted. I'll repost the link, but PayPal, but the chat room has this way of sometimes not displaying links correctly, and when you click on them, they don't work well. So just go into your PayPal, send it to the Yahoo email that I posted. That's going to work. Bob T says RSP1A is very good. Absolutely. Absolutely. Kevin Wood says we'll upgrade his SDRQ to RSP1A at least. Yeah, Eneloops are expensive, but they are good batteries and work well. But I like the Amazon Basics work well. They're decently priced. Funny Xenakis says he's got IKEA. I've heard a lot of people saying that the IKEA batteries are really, really good. Absolutely. Iman Siga says, would you care to elaborate on the difference between HF and LF radios? I guess I'm not able to listen to Morse or DXers on my normal radio. Well, actually, HF and LF. So HF is for high frequency. LF is low frequency. When you talk about HF or LF, you're talking about either shortwave or LF is more into the bottom of the long wave frequency range. So you got HF, high frequency. You've got medium frequencies, which are the standard AM band, for example, is in the medium frequency range. And you got LF, which is low frequency range, which is, I think, below. LF is considered to be below 300 kilohertz, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just trying to remember. I think that there's VLF, which is below 100 kilohertz or below 10 kilohertz. I'm trying to remember here. There's LF, which is low frequency, which is up to 300 kilohertz. Medium wave frequencies, 300 kilohertz to 3 megahertz. For example, the 160 meter band is not shortwave, it's medium wave. And then there's HF, which is the high frequency portion, which is 3 megahertz to 30 megahertz. And then above 30 megahertz, you get to VHF. Ray Lyle says, I'm sure my RSP-1A and Air Spy HF Plus will do everything the ICOM 8600 will do, or more maybe. But I'm going to get the 8600 for Christmas this year. One last new tabletop. Cool. Have fun. Have fun. Today's figures. Nice to have you here. Walker Ball, enjoy all your radio tips videos. Lot. They are very helpful. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Uh, 236623, nice to have you here. The RSP-1A can show 10 megahertz at one time. You have 10 megahertz possibility. What else do we have? Vancouver Island DXer, nice to have you here. And says here is a recent blog post of mine that uses real data to illustrate how variable shortwave propagation can be. So cool. We'll be checking that out. Nice to have you here, Brian, VE7AUL. And his shortwave call sign, VE7011SWL. Pretty cool. KC Red Dragon, detecting earthquakes with radio. Well, I haven't seen anybody kind of doing it, but or really read much of it, except for the fact that the VLF portion, the very, very low frequency portion of the spectrum, and I'm talking like in the kilohertz range, where the whistlers and all those weird sounds that are often produced by our own magnetic field around the Earth and received with these receivers. Apparently, there could be some link there that they could maybe use that in order to predict or at least know if there's been some earthquakes. I remember seeing a study showing of relation between earthquakes and the very low frequency range stuff. So there's all of that possibility there for sure, and it's quite interesting. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that could be, I guess, seen, but you know, I'm not sure if honestly we can ever detect it using radio waves, but who knows? Who knows? Very, very surprising sometimes. Oh, well, you know, D1 DJK, there's so much crap. You go to an example of that is going to the dollar store and looking at all the stuff that the dollar store carries that is pure junk, and thinking year over year when you see it and when you see the stuff, and you're just thinking, how can these things still be sold? And you know, usually it's simply because they're cheap, and you always got someone somewhere to say, hey, I'm going to buy that, but they don't realize that what they're buying is actually junk, honestly, you know. So I don't know, it's kind of weird. But you know, I ask myself the same question from time to time. How can somebody actually be, you know, doing that and still being in business, selling such crap? Absolutely. I mean, these little radios, if my only purchase would have been, my only purchase would have been one of those cheap QFX receivers, portable, I would have never bought another QFX ever in my life. I have another QFX here, a bigger one, that's total junk. And I mean, if I had purchased that and I would see other QFX, I would stay away from them. So it all depends. You know, the QFX boombox is darn cheap. You know, I mean, I like the looks of it, and it works okay for me. But boy, it's you know, I would not recommend anybody buy it. I bought it because it kind of had that 80s boombox looks, and I wanted to, of course, you know, I have this channel, so I wanted to test it out. But frankly, don't buy that. You know, I mean, if you want to have a boombox, there's still some boombox around that are more expensive and much better. Or yet, you know, buy one of those used boomboxes that still work from the 80s or 90s. You'll get a lot better from it. And talking of boombox, I've I'm going to show you guys. So there's a little story behind it. I have found while digging up stuff this week. I'm going to show you. And this one is not shortwave. It's really a standard boombox. So when my mom, at Christmas of like 1995 or something, my mom wanted to have something to play her cassette tapes. So I had purchased this to her as a Christmas gift back in around 95, 94, 95. It's a little Panasonic boombox and cassette player. So, and I'll show you here. It's the RXFS 430. She used this every single day from 1995 way up to when she died in 2008. She would listen to tapes. She had tons of tapes that she recorded off of radio with this. It would be her radio also at the same time, listening to the CBC. So when she died, of course, I picked it up because I had given that to her as a gift, and I thought, well, it was, you know, because others were looking at it, and it was like, well, you know, I gave it to her as a gift, and for me, you know, I kind of want to have it because it's kind of a souvenir of something that I gave her as a gift when she was living, you know. But what happened is I put it away in my closet. And there were like tons of things over it. So I kind of forgot about it. Totally forgot about it. And it was the other day I came across a box of 4-track cassettes. And I have my little Sanyo Walkman that I can listen to some of those cassettes. So I got it here. I've got my little Sanyo Walkman here that I can use to, you know, play those cassettes. But I was thinking, you know, I'd like to have, and there was a QFX boombox, which is not in stereo. So I was like, yeah, it's not stereo, you know, it's kind of crappy. It did play the tapes. And I went to the closet to check for some clothes and stuff, and while looking up at the junk, I moved a little bit of the junk and said, what's behind that? And I saw that part of the boombox, and I was like, oh, I've got the Panasonic boombox from my mom. So I thought, does it still work? I mean, it's been stored there for 10 years, and it hasn't been used at all in 10 years. So I thought maybe, you know, the tapes won't play, or I don't know. Took it out, put the tape in, works perfectly. It's like brand new. It works like the day it actually was. I purchased it from my mom. It's amazingly good quality boombox, and I paid like something like 130 or 140 bucks in 94, 95 for it. So and you know, she used it a lot, and it still works great. So now I'm going to have a little spot for it here, because the other thing I want to do is that box of cassettes. I'm going to kind of put the cassettes and listen to what is on these cassettes, what was recorded on that thing. But I'm happy to have found it, because, and you know, part of the fun of it, we'll tune around the FM AM band and see what's you know, I can get with that. But it's kind of nice, and it was really, really cool to see it in the and play tapes with it. It was really, really nice. Okay, let's go down. Dr. Sissop, nice to have you here. Swedish, well, let me just, yeah, okay, going down. Trying not to miss too much. Ethan Best, nice to have you on board. Geek Nerd, nice to have you here. So my first beer was Fin du Monde. I actually took an hour and a half to drink it, so it's very slow, so I'm not getting drunk. And now we are getting a Blonde from Hell. This is beer number 2. Blonde from Hell, 10.5%. It's going to get me a little drunker. I'm not drunk, actually. I'm not even tipsy. One is not enough. After this one, I'm going to be a little more tipsy. Pretty much. What else do we have? Matambali is happy with his R8, Drake R8. Had it since 92. Nice. These are nice. The Drake R8 is a great receiver. Nord B True from Boston, USA. Nice to have you on board from Boston, Massachusetts. Little Parkovsky, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Texan PL680. Were there some recommended rechargeable batteries mentioned a minute ago? I missed it. Honestly, you know what? I have only one pack, but I have a pack of Duracell rechargeables. They're 2,400 milliamp hours. They're a little expensive, but I've been using them. I've been using them for maybe a year. Amazing AA batteries. They really keep their charge well. And you know what? If you don't have a charger, I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but like they sell you the 4-pack of rechargeable batteries for like, you know, here they're selling them for like $18.99. And for $22.99, you got 4 batteries and the charger. Figure it out. For $4, you got a charger with it. So what I did is I bought the pack with charger, because like, oh well, I only have, you know, because I only had 2 chargers here, which means I could charge 8 AA batteries maximum. And sometimes it happened that, you know, both were used, and I would have enjoyed having more rechargeable capability. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to buy it with a charger, so I'll be able to charge up to 12 AA's if I need to. So those look really good. The Duracell rechargeables look really good. They keep their charge for a long time when they're charged. I like the Amazon Basics. I use them in a lot of devices. The Amazon Basics that I've got, nickel metal hydride or NIMH. The ones I got are 2,100 milliamp hour. Keep their charge long, charge well. They're really, I've really been having a lot of a good experience with them. A lot of people talk about the IKEA Lada batteries that seem to be good. They talk about the Eneloops. The Eneloops are made by Sanyo, the original ones. They keep it charged. And I got a friend of mine that purchased Eneloops a couple of years back and seemed to be happy with it for sure. So nice to check that out. So there's definitely some good. Make sure that you buy good batteries though. The problem with the batteries, AA batteries, is the cheap batteries from that are on eBay, for example, for China, where you get a 40 pack of batteries for $24.99. Totally avoid those. And one of the best tricks that I can give you guys is when you buy batteries, resist the temptation of buying the highest capacity ones possible. So for example, you might see 3,000 milliamp hour ones. The higher the capacity, the less it keeps its charge for long. So if you buy 2100s, that's why I actually chose 2100s at first, because they also had 2400s if I remember well. And I had some people tell me that the 2400s they had didn't keep as long a charge. And what I've noticed is the higher the capacity, the less you'll have a length of time that it keeps its charge. It changes something in the battery chemistry or the way that it's done. So even if you see, like 2100 milliamp hours, 2400 milliamp hours, 2700 milliamp hours, 3000 milliamp hours, resist the temptation of the 3000 and go to something more in the middle. For example, 2400 milliamp hours. They keep their charge longer than the 3000 ones. And the logic between using 3000 of course goes with the fact that you're going to say, well, yeah, but 3000 milliamp hours, my radio is going to work much longer on one charge. Technically, yeah, but you know what? In proof, and honestly, I should buy and do a test. I'd be curious. You buy 2400 and 3000 milliamp hour of the same brand, and do a test of how long will the radio work with both being fully charged. I'm not always convinced that between 21, 24, or 3000 milliamp, there's that much of a difference in the length of time you listen to the radio. I have the impression that in AA's, when you go above 2400 milliamps, you're kind of pushing it to the extreme, and it changes something in the capacity and the way the battery holds its own power, and the way that it delivers the power to the radios and the devices you used, honestly. Dr. Sissop, have you ever get signals from Iqaluit, Nunavut here in Montreal on ham and shortwave? I picked up AMDX the other night on 1230 kilohertz. I heard the weather channel from Iqaluit on 6507 kilohertz a couple of months back. I believe it's not active during the winters, so it's not active right now from what I know. So I've heard Iqaluit. And I've heard an amateur radio operator from, I don't remember where he was, somewhere up there in Nunavut, but I remember an amateur radio operator several years ago. But I haven't heard much more than that. One that I'm desperately trying, there's a WeatherFax bulletin sent from Iqaluit. Now, when it's going to come back online I believe in May, what I want to do is try to get that WeatherFax signal and decode it. That's going to be kind of cool. William Helms, nice to have you here from Florida. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Russian, Chinese spy numbers, yeah, Vietnamese, Cubans. There's tons of those. It's kind of a lot of fun to tune around, you know. Fanning Xenakis. Hey guys, I'd like a piece of advice on survival radio available here. It's Sangian called either MMR88 or Survivor M8. Is it any good for use in off-grid survivalist? I don't know. I don't know. Oh yeah, absolutely, Vaults. For sure that a transceiver, you know, actually you get a transceiver for less of a price than the R8600. The R8600 is purely for the pleasure of getting a wideband radio that decodes digital modes of all sorts on the VHF, UHF range. But definitely, if somebody would become a ham or anything, I mean, there's tons of transceivers out there that are actually, you know, like the ICOM ICR 7300, which is what, almost half the price of the R8600, and is a great radio. It's just that it's not a wideband radio. So, okay, Matt has shared VLF 3 to 30 kilohertz, LF 30 to 300 kilohertz, medium wave 303 megahertz, HF 3 to 30 megahertz, and VHF 30 to 300, UHF 300 to 3 gigahertz, and SHF 3 to 30 gigahertz. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they've. Well, wait. Yes, they have. Matt, I've seen something. I'm trying to remember what. I've seen something of some tests being done on something like 55 gigahertz or something, which is nuts. Walkabout says radio waves for earthquake detection may be a good idea. Yeah, maybe. William L., do you know why the Texan S8800 was never really released in North America? You know what? That's one of those things that sometimes is kind of curious. Over years, there were some receivers, some radios that were released for European markets only, others for North American markets. It could have simply one thing to do, William. Simply the fact that they've targeted a market where it will be more popular, where there's more people buying shortwave radios or listening to shortwave, which honestly is kind of a you know, dead place, except for, you know, really crazy people like us. David Arden, 10-second ad for Craig Pocket Halls. Okay. Well, at least think about it, that it's somewhat of a donation. If you guys have seen an ad, that's weird. Okay. Man. Page Master, nice to have you here from Moore, Oklahoma. I've got a question. I've seen QSL cards that say shortwave listening station with some weird call sign on them. What is that about? That is because you can have, so you can, let's back up a little bit. So the regular QSL card is you ask a station for a QSL and they send you their own QSL, and all is well and all is beautiful. But the thing is, some stations do not have a QSL card, but they will gladly acknowledge reception if you provide the possibility to them. So that means you could have your own QSL card done. The weird call signs is because you can actually register for a shortwave listener call sign if you want. And you make up your own card that you can use and have it with, you know, like prepaid postage So when you send it, all that the station or whoever you're sending to has to do is just sign or confirm, yeah, I've heard you've heard that station, and then they just send it back. So it doesn't cost them anything. You send it, it's your card, you put the details, you just ask them to sign to acknowledge something that at least you've heard it. You make sure, and a lot of people, most people that do that will actually have self-addressed stamped envelopes so that they don't have to do anything. They just have to sign a card, yeah, it's okay, you've heard our station, and send it back to you. They have no charge, no cost, and it's a way for some people to DX and QSL a station that will never or does not have QSL or verification capabilities. So that's pretty much what you've seen probably there with all of these funky call signs on them. So Zero Cool, nice to have you on board. Marcel, yes, there's a bender, a little bender here that was given to me as a little gift. Phoenix Anakis says, hobby can be cheap, Jean. Got a small one for free when signing up as a customer for something. You know, really crazy. Chris Freitas, IKA batteries, do you need an Allen wrench to assemble the acidic core with the... Yes, you have to build your own batteries with the IKA batteries. So you've got the chemicals, you've got the container, and the instructions on how to build the battery yourself. Oh God, that would be a mess. Building your own AA batteries. Oh, I can already see the number of batteries that are going to explode in there. Oh, you know what, Max Headstrong, absolutely. Absolutely, you are right on that. There is... And there's a lot of fun to have with cheap radios, absolutely. Some of them are surprising for what they are, honestly. Radio Week Signal just purchased a Com Radio CR1A. Will be arriving over the weekend. I'd like to get your thoughts on the receiver. From what I've heard, the Com Radio CR1A is a nice performer. It's a nice receiver. It has its drawbacks, a little bit of, from what I've seen a lot, and actually you can ask David in Barcelona has one. I believe one of its drawbacks is it easily overloads on very strong signals, but it apparently definitely is a decent radio for the price and for what it is. Maybe David in Barcelona can give you a little more ideas because he's, I know he has one. And he's talked about it quite a few times. Keegan never heard of IKA branded batteries before. Here, no, I've heard. You know what? If it wasn't for the chat room, I did not even know IKEA actually had rechargeable batteries. So you know. But then again, it's because I never go there, but I actually have seen Walmart branded rechargeables the other day. They were actually branded Walmart. I was like, okay, first time I see this. And since I go into a Walmart probably once a year and really not more than that, I was surprised to see that there were Walmart branded rechargeables. Weird. Dr. Sisop, Texan PL 660, 680, 880 have poor rejection. If you're close to commercial FM transmitters that I have here down the road, I hear bleed over on 4.9 to 6.5. You know, it's interesting because I do not have, okay, I have very strong signals here from, let me just, I don't know if it's going to work, but I have very strong FM signals here. And I will pick up my PL 680. Maybe you're living even closer than me. That could be a possibility, honestly. Well, let me pick my Texan PL. What the hell fell down here? I'm just gonna. Sorry, guys. Oh, there's some music. I dropped the keyboard that actually made the volume go higher. So here we go. So okay, let me just So you say between 4.9 and 6.5. Let me adjust that. I'm gonna go to 4900. I got a lot of interference here, but I would say I can't say I got any breakthrough of FM stations here on the on that frequency range on a 680 at all. Because I have that type of problem here, Dr. Sisop, which is FM stations, strong FM stations from the city here, actually breaking into the, or bleeding through the bands of many of my radios. But not on the PL680, not on the PL600. They do break through on a lot of my receivers though. The Toshiba analog that I've got, there's some breakthrough. Cheap portables like the TFDO V115, the API CS106, which is also a TFDO V111. These have tremendous overload of FM signals everywhere. What else? I got quite a few radios that do have the bleed through. But it's interesting because it doesn't on mine. So that's interesting because I got a serious problem with that here with cheaper radios. And you see mine doesn't have any problems with that. Kind of interesting. Huh. KC Red Dragon, second question. Is there any seismographs that transmit over shortwave? Not that I know of. Anything is possible, but not that I know of. Fanning Xenakis, we had that radio cassette player. It was awful, impossible to tune in, and volume control broke very quickly, all crackles. Which one? The one that I just shown you, the Panasonic? Make sure it was a Panasonic and not a weird branded one, because this one is very good. Mickey Damage, was it the Duran Duran tape? No, it was not a Duran Duran tape. It was actually the box that I found was tapes done by my mom. So the first one I put in was Barbara Streisand. Duran Duran tape. I actually found a tape of me playing guitar, and so that means I did that tape at least 25 years ago, at least, because I hadn't done a tape of me playing guitar in at least 25 years. So that was like, oh, okay, kind of interesting. Well, you know what, Dr. Sisop, that's what I thought when I took it out and put the cassette in. I thought it's not going to work because the belt is going to be, you know, too old and need to be changed and everything. No, it's actually worked perfectly. I was like, oh, okay. I've got a tape deck, a Sharp tape deck that actually has that problem. I purchased the tape deck in 1987, I believe, or 1988, and it hadn't worked for like 20 years, and it just doesn't work. That's what happened. Oh man. Pagemaster is having a Guinness Extra Stout beer after a long day at work. Cool. Cheers. Brent's got a Creemore Lot 9 Pilsner. Cheers. Cheers, guys, from my Blonde from Hell. Ray Erding, nice to have you on board from Leeds, UK. Hello, Parfkovsky's got boombox from Panasonic. But it's a more modern one. It can play flash drives and CDs. A big burp after the beers. Oh man. What else do we have? Let's go down. Let's go down. David in Barcelona says IKEA ladders are made in the same factory as N-loops, so they're just that. Just with a different branding and cheaper price. In short, a ladder is an N-loop. Huh, interesting. Cool. Terry Cook, nice to have you on board. Having fun listening to amateur radio transponders on ES-HAIL geosynchronous satellite through a web SDR. Good subject for your VHF, UHF show. Absolutely, and I did see that when I posted the link to the SDRs, I did see the link to that that web SDR that actually is tuned to that satellite, which is kind of very nice. So, no, I think seismographs don't, well, you know, they could have a radio transmitter that sends data somewhere, that's for sure. You know, modern seismographs, maybe. I don't know. Kevin Woods, solar roadways power all my radio. D1DJK, who needs expensive batteries when you have a radio which does not need much energy? My Texans only get only the minion cells 8-piece, 1 year, and radio runs still after 3 months of running. It depends how much you actually use them, because of course a portable, like a cheaper portable like the Texan R9012, for example, that of course will be much more of a that will last forever on 2 AA's. I actually have radios here that will, there are a few of them that I don't put in rechargeables because they last forever on AA alkalines, and I will sometimes put alkalines in them. You got to make sure you don't forget them too long without using them, though, because they can really leak. But it's surprising. Some radios take so little power, it's just crazy. Keegan says, after I got my Ethon Grading Edition field BT radio at Radio Shack, decided to try Radio Shack brand batteries with the radio. So they still have Radio Shack branded batteries? I guess maybe not that all of that is gone now, but when I'm home with the power, use AC power. I almost never use AC power because of the noise that it induces in my radio and makes for crappier listening. Kevin Wood says his daughter's in Cambridge Bay and he wants her to host an SDR. Yeah, why not? Just buy the equipment and set it up and say, look, it's just there in a corner. Don't touch anything, and we'll be happy, and I'll be able to tune it. You know, just make sure that she understands she has nothing to do, and that you won't call her every 5 minutes to say, can you do something to make it work again, or, you know. I'm always very, very behind in the chat, Yvonne. I can tell you that. It's crazy. Nodrog Asen. I never had owned or, well, I did see a few YouTube videos, but never owned and never tried any of the Russian radios like the Selena and the Vega. Absolutely. Absolutely. Take care, Ivan Tsiga. Take care, and good luck with the ham radio course and tests. Always nice to have everybody here. Okay, let's go down. Let's go down. I'm on what frequency? 9690. Spain's coming in really well. Okay, what else do we have? So it's 2200 hours UTC. We've been on for 2 hours now. Kind of cool. Cool. What else do we have? Cuban numbers on 8. Let's try it out. It's 11,635. 11,635. Here we go. I see a very faint line, but I don't know if it's still on. I don't hear anything right now. What's that on 11.68? What's that? Oh, there's a. Oh yeah, that's the radio teletype. Radio teletype signal. Around 11687.2. That radio teletype in the 25 meter band has been there for ages. I remember it interfering with so many 25 meter broadcasts. Yes, Elton Byington, old magazine, Popular Communications, many years ago, did issue shortwave call signs. It's called, under the program was WPE3NN. Interesting. Yeah, I did, Jerry. Kind of interesting. Kind of an interesting operations there. Bullfrog, KD2CXU, nice to have you here from Albany, New York. Okay, in the US, they're branded as great value. Interesting. Because they were really branded Walmart. And I was like, whoa, okay. Because I did see the great value stuff also. So maybe the CR1A is an improved version. So we'll have to have your opinion on the CR1A. KC Red Dragon 9690 coming in strong. KC Red Dragon is listening to 6170, which is Radio Romania. Take care, Ray Lyle. It's nice to have you on board. Kevin Wood says there's a relatively new over-the-horizon transmitter a few miles from me, wide, very wide, between 60 and 75 meters. I've seen a few of the very new types of radar like that are extremely wide. I've seen it also around the close to the parrot band, the top of the just below the 40 meter ham band, like at around 6900 kilohertz, and it's really wide. It's like 40 or 50 or 60 kilohertz wide. It's really big. Kind of weird. Really weird. What else do we have? It's a little bit of buffering according to you guys here. It's everything's good, so shouldn't be too much of a problem. Everything looks okay over here. So you know, sometimes YouTube has these little glitches. It's not always easy. So you're watching the Shortwave Show, the live Shortwave Show from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And we are here live, of course. And hope that you enjoy our live show. Dane Trano, nice to have you here. Just found the channel. It's about radio. Hope you enjoy. Jerry DX has in touch his C-Crane Skywave radio for 6+ months. Battery life was 100% when I made a video on it the other day. Amazing. Cool. Take care, Joe Rodman. It was nice to have you here. And even a lot of the receivers that have analog digital displays don't use that much power, honestly. Dan Trainer has an ICOM IC7300 transceiver, pretty nice, and an SDR play with SDR Uno, pretty cool. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Daniel Edward, nice to have you here. Have you ever used Whisper, WSPR, and WhisperNet.org using your RSP08 to test your receiver antenna in band conditions? I've never. I need to test that out. I actually need to check that out for sure. I've seen WSPR and WSPRnet.org many times. I need to check that out. That's actually a good weekend project that I should try out, and even talk about it on the channel. I have to keep note of that, Daniel. And nice to have you on board, my friend. What else do we have? We have D1 DJK says 9530 Chinese channel PBS. Kevin Miles, nice to have you here. Started listening to Shortwave on a Grundig Satellite S700 I bought from my cousin back in 2000. Sold since then, but now I use an Eton E1XM and Eton Satellite Grundig Edition. Cool, welcome aboard. VE3KRP, nice to have you on board. Fast Eddie, did you get my reply back? I didn't see your email before today because it's I don't look for messages in that place, the Yahoo email you used. I usually see the user emails from official Shortwave Radio at Gmail. So sorry, but I sent you the link for the Zadig driver for the RTL SDRs. Hope you got it. JR, nice to have you here. And yes, it's been a while. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Mick has M12 on 8626 CW. I don't know if it's still on 8126, 8126. Anything here? Talking of CW, I haven't heard that Russian CW station on the 5 megahertz frequency since the time that I actually heard it the other day. Kind of interesting. I don't know if it's something unusual with propagation or it's just that they were there and now they're gone. So nice to have you here, John Ritson, 2E0JGR. Bye, TV Radio 72. Take care. Tomorrow there's a show, by the way. Tomorrow, this is the weekend with 2 shows. So tomorrow at 2000 hours UTC, we have another show. David on another ad. What gives? YouTube. Oh, really? Brent also. Okay, kind of interesting. I guess it's, I don't know, they want to make more money. Well, think about it as the fact that if they make money, I also make part of it, so I guess. Weird. It's the first time I hear people saying that there's ads. Walker Bro says, yes, I enjoy all your live shows. Well, thank you very much. It's like it's fun to do these shows, honestly, also, you know. What else do we have? I need to try it out, WSBR. I need to try that for sure. So, yeah, Kevin Wood. Absolutely. Keegan says, no ads here except maybe when I first clicked on the video, no interrupting during the show. Interesting. Mick says, I just had to refresh again. I wonder if there's a link with the ads that the people are seeing. I don't know. Kind of weird. Yeah, but ads are depending on the market also. It depends on many things. The market where you are, depending on the countries. There's also some, if you use an ad blocker, you might not see an ad, stuff like that. The UNDJK, when starts the new period of summer schedules for shortwave radio? I only know it's end of March. Yep. So on the weekend, the last. So let me check the schedule. So the schedules start on Sunday. So Sunday, March the 31st, is the new shortwave schedules that start for A19. That is the summer schedules. That means there's a lot of stations that already have said what they will use, what frequencies and tons. It's very, very that there's going to be that few weeks of time where it's going to be kind of a little messed up, knowing what frequency stations are using. A lot of stations use the same frequencies they used last year, for example. So that's something that you need, that you might want to check for. But it's coming at the end, March 31st. We are going to lose Channel Africa on the 27th. I don't know why they're not going all the way through the 31st for some reason. But Channel Africa is apparently going off because of the Mayerton transmitter closure. Radio Southern Grens, 3320 kilohertz. If you guys want to DX these stations, your time is now because they're going to leave, which is sad. Bro Weaver, nice to have you here. Is there a good radio? Whoops. Let's go here. Is there a good radio that has the waterfall built in? I've looked at high-end AM radios, but how can they compete with software? Honestly, Bro Weaver, if you are to have a receiver and want to have a waterfall, don't spend, you know, $3,000 on a waterfall, on a radio that has a waterfall and all of that. Spend $100 or $200, like on the RSP1A here, for example, and you'll have a much better experience. And you know, I've seen a few people do this. So if you want to do yourself a really cool thing, I've seen some people buy themselves a tablet PC, hook up an SDR play or, you know, some SDR on it, and encase it in such a way that it becomes a portable software-defined receiver. And it will cost you less to do that than to actually buy one of those really expensive radios. You get yourself a small, you know, a small tablet or something, and I can tell you it's very, very nice. I'm looking into maybe creating one of those little portable. I've seen one design, a guy with an Android tablet, and actually using it as a portable SDR, and the way he made it, you know, it's like he used a 6-inch, 7-inch screen. It's just enough for doing what he wants to do, and it is super portable. And because a lot of these Android tablets have, like, you know, 10+ hours of battery life, you have a radio and you've got a display, and it's just that you gotta encase it somehow so that it holds together in a small portable design if you want, you know. Hey Sheldon, take care, my friend. I hope that it's going to be better. I totally understand you. I strained my back 2-3 years ago while doing a stupid, you know, like a regular maneuver. But you know, as we get older, it's kind of easier to have that happen. And I just bent and pulled a little bit on something, and it's like, it just made me go nuts. And man, I had that pain for weeks at a time before it actually slowly gone away. Boy, it's really, really hell. So take care, and maybe get some of those muscle relaxant pills and stuff, or go see the doctor, which is even better. And come on, just take it easy, man, because totally feel for you, totally understand. When I had that back pain back then, oh man, it was nuts. And don't worry about Sunday. I'll be happy to fill in and be at the controls of the International Radio Report, Sheldon. There's no problem there. I mean, everybody's entitled to have a little bit of time off and rest when something goes bad. Geek Nerds. Someone talked about portable plus overload, incredibly or not, but the PL380, at least mine, performs better on the overload issue than the 600 series. For price sensitivity and quality, PL380 surprised me. It is a different design. The PL600 series is designed on, you know, general circuitry with, you know, a PLL designed receiver and analog around it. The PL380 is designed around a chip, which is a digital signal processor chip, which is also an AM/FM shortwave receiver at the same time. So they don't have the same capabilities, so it's possible. I've never tried my PL380 on the long wire, honestly. I don't think I've ever tried that, and it'd be interesting to check it out. That beer is powerful. I get drunk just seeing it. And look at that, I'm really drinking it down here. 127.9 megahertz, KC Red Dragon, or 12790. Radio Week Signal, Saturday show, more beers. Yes, yes. And I can't wait next week to have my XH Data D808 and my RadioWow R108 receivers. I mean, that's going to be a lot of fun to have, and I can't wait to test them out. These are really, really nice. They come from a fan of mine that watches the show, and unfortunately, he wants to stay anonymous, which is sad because I like to mention the names of people that actually, send me radios. But he watches all the time. He's never in the chat room. He's emailed me over the years, maybe a dozen times, and he's been he was watching the show a couple of weeks back, and he said, you know what, you had mentioned. He told me you had mentioned that donations can be in the form of radios. They don't have to be in the form of money. And he said, well, you know what, that kind of brought me to think, hey, I'm going to send you some receivers that people talk about all the time. So he purchased the RadioWow R108 and the XH Data D808 on eBay. He sent to my address. They come from Singapore, and I've had the tracking number. So they have arrived in Canada. They're actually in Montreal right now. I was looking at the tracking this morning while at noon, because at first they said they would deliver it today, but they didn't. Now they're saying on Tuesday, March 12th. But it does say that the radios have arrived in Montreal. So they're somewhere here in Montreal waiting to be in my hands and tested. And I can't wait. I can't wait. For sure. So what am I drinking tonight, JR? Well, I started with a Fin du Monde, but right now I'm actually on a very strong 10.5 Blonde from Hell. So it's kind of it's a strong beer. I won't have any others after that one, I can tell you that. And after I finish this glass, it's going to be I'm going to stay really relaxed. What else do we have? What else do we have? I'm just go down. Oh, I'm going to check it out, Kevin. Northern Radar. Huh. Okay. Let me check it out. Matt Reader the Xer. Take care. 73s. Tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC. Dan Trainer got a W6 LVP mag loop. Pretty good antenna there. It's a pretty good antenna. Yeah, and we'll be talking about it. I'll be doing more videos and talking about some of the highlights of stations to listen to for the summer schedule season. And by the way, guys, in North America, everywhere except a few places like, Arizona, Saskatchewan, and I don't know where else, but for most of us, we are moving 1 hour ahead this weekend. We are going to be an hour ahead on the night of Saturday to Sunday. So that means that if you listen to the International Radio Report, this Sunday is going to be at 14:30 UTC because it stays local time the same, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. So now for the summer, International Radio Report is 14:30 UTC, and that also means that UTC doesn't change for my live shows, but because of the time change, they are an hour later. So that means that the 20 hours UTC, which for me here Eastern is 3, right now today was 3 p.m. Eastern time. Well, it's going to be 4 p.m. Eastern time starting next week. So if you're local North America, remember that the live show is moving 1 hour because of the time change. But if your reference, and that's why I always say, keep your reference as UTC time. Because if your reference is UTC, it doesn't change. It's always the same. I'm always at 20 hours UTC. So, time change this weekend, except for, what is it? I believe Saskatchewan doesn't do it. I think Arizona doesn't do it. Any other places that don't do it? So, yeah, like Sheldon says, daylight from standard to daylight standard time. Absolutely. So, anyone hearing a marble tap a desk? A marble tap a desk. Okay. Oh, that would be nice, Kevin would see, to have some pictures of the transmitter site. Alleged to be at Hartland Point, Nova Scotia. That's interesting. So we have a radar, an over-the-horizon radar in the Hartland Point, Nova Scotia. That's kind of interesting. Keegan says, my dad, W9JEF, uses a W6 LVP loop. He also uses it. I need to order one of those. You know what? I've been slowly getting back to the normal stuff, and I might be ordering a W6 LVP loop for a little later in the spring, and setting that up, and hopefully maybe having a better reception thanks to that. NordB True says MFJ makes a box to switch between SDR and HF rigs automatic. I'm going to check it out. Brian Penny says, weird. I hear it too. Weird. Plus 2 ads interrupted the show. Interesting. Kind of bizarre. That is kind of bizarre. No, I won't be late for the show. Should be okay. Should be okay. Kevin Miles, no, Radio Canada International left shortwave many years ago, unfortunately. They still have some form of RCI internet broadcasts, from what I know. But Radio Canada International is unfortunately a voice from the past. Hey Klaus, nice to have you here from the Bavaria border. It's always cool to have you on board, my friend. Really, really nice to see you all the time and commenting and saying hi. It's always a privilege and a pleasure to have you here. Take care, DE1DJK. It was nice to have you on board, my friend. Yeah, some portable radios do overload on long wires. Absolutely, absolutely. What digital mode is on 7355? 7355. Do I have anything here? I got nothing here. I got something on 7375. I don't know if it's Radio Marti, maybe, on 7375. And tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC, there's a show, by the way. Jerry DX, ever try Broadhead Blueprint Blueberry Blonde Beer? No, never. I need to go to the local liquor store where they have a lot of imported beer and get some really interesting stuff out of there. It'd be interesting to try different things. I've been stuck in the same pattern of, always the same kind of I've been kind of lazy in my choice of beers. Paul McDonald, nice to have you on board, my friend. VA7ZZT. Held at customs. No, the radios are not held at customs. They've been released. They haven't. Customs haven't even. They released it like an hour later. They didn't take the time to do anything. So the radios got at in Vancouver. Arrived in Vancouver, Burnaby, BC, and was in transit throughout Canada by Canada Post throughout the past few days. And this morning they showed up. They were saying that there was be a delivery today. They were saying that possible delivery, but it was still saying in transit. And then around noon, all changed and said, "Oh, March 12th. You're gonna have them March 12th." So they're arrived in Montreal, but they're not at the post office. They're at kind of that center in Montreal where they are like all, sending to Montreal and what I think is probably most of Quebec's mail. So they're at that center in Montreal. They'll be, if they get at the post office, they'll be delivered the same day. Once they're at the local post office, they get delivered the same day. Klaus, some DXer tested the Radio Wow in the last weeks, and for price, it is remarkable, amazing receiver. Proof results show this. Well, you know what, Klaus? I will have mine on Tuesday, and I will be doing my own tests. I'm like, a doctor. Doctors, when you go to a doctor and you have something, and you say, well, I went to that other doctor, and he said I had this problem. The doctor always wants to redo the tests because he wants his own take on it. And I understand that because as a tech guy, I would often, when I would go to the clients and fix the computers, the clients sometimes would say, well, that other tech guy said it would be this. And I would always say, I will judge of, I will judge of that problem myself because not that I don't trust other tech guys, but they're not all good and they're not all, I want to do my own tests and see, And it's the same thing here. I'm going to do my own Radio Wow tests. But I've been hearing, like you, Klaus, a lot of positive on that radio, I got to say. Oh, 12788, in case you read Dragon. That's radio teletype. But is it? No, wait, 12788. That's radio fax. So an 88, I believe, is a weather fax. I don't hear it. I don't hear nothing here. But I think 1278889 is a weather fax. It's a frequency of, I think it's a frequency of Boston. Boston weather station. I think it comes out of Boston, Massachusetts on that frequency. I believe. I'm not going to put my hand in the fire for it, but, just out of curiosity. John Ritson, that's a proper beer at 10.5. Oh, man, yeah, you don't drink 6 of those. You don't drink a 6-pack of 10.5, I can tell you that. I can tell you that. Oh, Florida also has no more DST, Dr. Sisop. Kevin Wood says, Joe said he was going dialed back on strong beer. Yeah, well, not too much of those, Texan PL680 says that 1 hour is robbery for vampires like Joe. Listening to Shortwave late at night, and then all of a sudden 1 hour passes without even listening to anything. Yeah. I would like to, when they talk, because it comes back regularly, we should kill DST and all of that. And one of the things that I was telling everybody is I would like it they stop doing that DST time thing, but I don't want to be stuck in the normal time zone. I want it to stay on DST. And the reason is why is if they decide that daylight standards time is not anymore, and we only stay on standard time, well, in the summer it's boring because in July the sun will set at 8. When we go on DST, at least the sun sets at 9 p.m. here in Montreal. So it kind of feels like the evening just lingers on longer. So I would like that to stay like that. Now, the problem is if we stay on DST in the winter time, in December, the sun would set, it would be nice in the evening, the sun would set at like 5 p.m. instead of 4. But the problem is in the morning, the sun would rise at like 8:30 a.m. So everybody would go to work in the darkness pretty much. But I would like that rather than moving around the DST, EST stuff. It's always kind of a problem. And you know, they say that there's tons of health problems and things that happen because of DST. It's just crazy. David Arden says, Puerto Rico, Arizona, and Hawaii do not go DST. Neeson Greenwich says, I hear the marble. What the hell is the marble? Kind of weird. Ray Erdink, what sounds like handle flapping on a suitcase? This is weird. Oh, maybe it's my chair. Maybe it's my chair. I've been kind of moving around in my chair, and it does make like noise. Maybe it's my chair. That is weird. That is really weird. Vancouver Island DXer says, oh, really? I think it's my chair. I think it's my chair. I'm going to try to move it a little more. Vancouver Island DXer says, if California, Oregon, and Washington all agree to stop using daylight savings time, then British Columbia will very likely coordinate with them. Yeah, but the only thing, don't you agree, Vancouver Island DXer, Brian, that it'd be better to stay on daylight savings time, though? Because in the evening, I mean, I don't want to have a summer evening, the sun sets at 8 p.m. I like it when it's 9 p.m. Come on. Hey, Paul the Cat making his second appearance of the show. And here we are. There's Mr. Paul saying hi to everybody. There we go. Yeah. Hey, say hi to everyone. Mr. Paul the Cat. For your enjoyment, because I know you guys want to see Paul. Don't want to see me. And so yeah, you know, there's always, every year there's talk. I mean, there's always been talk. Even when I was young, there were talk about how, you know, DST and all of that was a problem. And I don't know, you know. And here they changed it because we used to go on DST much later than that. Now it's like the first weekend or something like, what is it? Is it the first weekend? Or no, the first weekend was last week. So we're doing this weekend, second weekend of March. We used to do it like first weekend of April or something. So, you know, it's kind of weird that they've changed all of that, and it's kind of bizarre. So Mr. Paul saying hi to everybody. And we put it like this. And so I don't know, you know, it's kind of weird. I don't know. Andy Tobin, nice to have you on board. Jerry DX says, you deserve a Wellbrook. Man. Matambali, you are not crazy. It's not just the marbles in your head. William Conlon, man, you're drinking very slow. Yes, I am, and it's intentional. I don't want to be drunk on the show. Michael Lancher, As It Happens, great on RCI. Yeah, As It Happens was nice. I remember listening to. I remember in the 90s when there was a time when what I would do is I would come back from work and then sit on, in the summer evenings, sit on the balcony where I used to live before, listen to As It Happens on Shortwave via RCI. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Nick Mayakovsky, nice to have you here. Hey, John McClure, nice to have you here, my friend. Pretty cool. David says, what I'm at now is installing a new HF antenna, a triple bazooka on top of an aluminum telescopic mast. That'll replace my 12.6 meter inverted L wire. Will enable me to transmit safely and my receive will improve. Cool. Brent says, Jill, I think your beers are pretty cool. I haven't heard of a lot of them. Yeah, it's a local brewery here. It's a Unibo, a Quebec brewery. Nick Mayakovsky says, the tapping is like a swinging drawer handle or something when Jill. I think it's my chair, honestly. My jewelry. Like I have jewelry. You know what? Instead of a diamond ring, I want to have an antenna or a radio. You know, if somebody comes up to me and says, I bought you a diamond ring, you fool, I want to have a radio. Who cares a diamond ring? Oh, God. VE3KRP, anywhere here, station Whipsaw, 6739, like a number station but using alpha characters. Yeah, 6739 is a host of frequencies, actually, of the EAMs, or it's the global HF system that the United States Army uses. So 6739 is one of the frequencies. For those that want to have all the frequencies, they are 15, let's tune them all here. 15016, upper sideband. So let's see if I hear anything. 13200, 11175, oops, 11175, 8992, 6739, and was it 4734, the last one? Or 4724 for the last one, I believe. 4724. So these are the global HF US Army frequencies. So they often have these stations that actually identify themselves and send these coded messages in alphabetic phonetics. So take care, Matambale. Tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC. Brent says, I never prejudge anything or anyone. Oftentimes, my impression is quite different. Bobby says, Florida's proposal to make all DST got ignored in Congress, but there is a possibility that we can all in the US go either all standard or DST. I would be DST. Jerry DX says 10.8% is man beer. Well, I'm a beer. Has Mr. Paul a license? He's got a license to be in the city. That's pretty much. Look at that. Mr. Paul putting his, look at that. Okay, guys, you got to see this. I hope he's going to stay there. Look at his paw. Look what he did. Oh, you guys just missed it. He put his paw here on my arm saying, oh, come on. Don't stop scratching. Say hi. Continue what you're doing. It's just good. So it's just so funny. Yeah, there we go. Let's just put it just like this. Anyways, you guys can't see the screen there. So, it's just funny. People like you. Yeah. That takes in PL680. Hello, and Paul does his impromptu live shows when Jill is out. I'm sure he does. I wouldn't even be surprised. Oh, man. I'll call 18. Greetings from Germany. Check out all the Stanag transmissions going on. Yeah, there's most of them are encrypted though, the Stanag, but you can listen to the ones from oh man, what's the Senegal. They often do the testing and transmissions in plain text. I've actually decoded a few times one of those. Dan Hubert, nice to have you here. Dan Hubert had tour of Radio Canada International when it was operating. The tall towers were simply support for co-phase horizontal dipoles 5/5 with reflectors. Brent says, I was really active on Shortwave in '76. Lots of great listening. Glad Shortwave is still great today. It's different, for sure. But Dr. Sisop, I don't know how old Paul is. We are actually thinking that he's probably somewhere around 8 or 9 years old. And the breed, I don't know. There's a name for the type of this type of cat, but I'm the kind of guy that doesn't know anything about that. He's a cat. Kimberly, K6YYL, nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. The sound is near my mic. Kind of interesting. So Mr. Paul. Now says to support your local brewery. Well, that's what pretty much I do. It's the local beer here. Geek Nerd says the Mr. Cat King of everything. Mine is at least she, the queen, simply dominates everything. Here too. There was a nice joke on the internet the other day that I saw go through on Facebook, and it's 2 dogs and a cat that arrive at heaven, and God is asking them. So, what do you think of humans and of me? And he said, no, what do you think of me? And he says, the first dog says, well, I will obey and I will be always there by your side and so blah, blah, blah. So he says, okay, you're going to be on the right side of me. The other dog says the same thing. And when he gets to the cat, he says, so what do you think of me? And the cat says, I believe you're at my place and you need to move away from your chair. Which is totally a cat thing. Obviously it was not exactly like that, but that's pretty much the thing of the cat joke. Paul Knight, nice to have you here. Noticed 20 minutes ago it was your chair. So, okay. Probably KC2NXO in Salamanca, New York. It's possibly my chair. Yeah. Would you recommend RSP1A, especially the RSP1A, you will be so happy, William Collin, you won't believe how amazing the RSP1A is as a SDR. If you'd had that, you would say SDR forever. It's just an amazing device. Kevin Woods says, Shortwave ×2 poodles here. Cool. Page Master, I would like to follow you, in your frequency footsteps, Shell, but I do not know if I have the intestinal fortitude to go online and discuss the shortwave concepts. It's just, the first time I did a live show, honestly, I was so stressed out, honestly. Doing the live show, I remember thinking, people are going to watch me. Today is just a normal thing. It's like I don't know, being in my living room and just this is my office, but just relax. John Ritson says, Joe, I'm so jealous of your local breweries, as over here some brewers need shot as their taste buds to fail them. But I'm sure there must be some good beers around you. You got to search. You know what? One of the beer one of the people that I like with recommendations. When I watch a show called Windows Weekly on the Twin Network, and one of the Microsoft journalists, if we would say, or the tech journalist there is Mary Jo Foley. She is an amazing amateur of beer, and she's picking up all of these beers from everywhere in the United States. And honestly, you guys have great beer also. It's just that you got to move away from the the standard crap, like Budweiser and stuff like that. Yeah, even here in Canada, I mean, come on. You don't drink a Molson beer like a Molson Dry or stuff like that. It's crab beer. That's the crappiest thing you can drink. And there's a lot of local breweries. And here, actually, things have changed so much in the past 30 years. We went from a generation of standard beer drinkers from Labatt and Molson stuff to much more refined beers, actually. And it's nice because we got a really, really beautiful choice. And there started to pop up all of these microbreweries everywhere, where before it was always these big, giant, companies that did everything. And frankly, almost everything they did was crappy. But because there was no real choice, people would just drink that, It's just crazy. Brent, where did you do your training? You mean in my knowledge of everything? It's just learning over years and years and years and reading and learning and pretty much that, honestly. Joe, stumbled on you. Nice to have you on board from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Pretty cool. I was reading an article about the Rio Carnival in Brazil. Oh, interesting, Sheldon. Kind of, I don't know. Unless my laptop is moving slightly and I haven't noticed. Kind of weird. Andy Tobin, Canadian beers are the best. Vianney Arsenault is on 11175 USB at the time. So let's. I'm going to put myself there too, and see if the U.S. Army. Whoops. 11175. See if anything comes up. Maybe it's when I'm clicking on the keys, because I believe the microphone, but it doesn't do that usually. Oh, weird. One of those weird things. Okay, that is. Sorry guys, I'm just kind of disgusting. Sorry. I just will take a little piece of. Oh man, that is Paul's cat hair everywhere. Okay, I'm back. Ugh, man. Dan Hoover says RCI was so powerful that audio would come out of people's toasters. Yeah, of course. I'm anybody living close to 500 kilowatt transmitters probably hear everything out of whatever device they have. It doesn't even have to be an electronic device. Just, I'm sure two carefully placed metal pipes that would touch each other might even bring a radio reception of some sort. Crazy stuff. Man. Well, 389.525 megahertz is way up high in the the frequency ranges, and I'm not set up with the antenna to receive that right now, alcohol. Well, a shortwave list, you can get a shortwave listener call sign, William Conlon, absolutely. Brent says, Mr. Paul thinks the world of usual. Yes, I know, he's always coming over and saying hi. Nick Mayakovsky says, I went to Mount A in Sackville, New Brunswick, and we had some weird sounds from our stereos back in the 80s from the RCI towers in the marsh. I'm sure. Take care, Paul McDonald. It's nice to have you here. Jenny Arsenault says we had FM, AM, upper, lower sideband, and now we have meow mode. Take care, Sheldon, and don't worry. Just take it easy, man. It's much, much more important for you to take it easy and take care than, you know, do things that will make it worse. Ziga Tricks, where am I from? Somewhere in the universe of the internet. I'm in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and the name of my cat is Paul. Paul the cat. So the RSP1A review is coming up early this week. It's going to be a multi-part one because I'm making it a pretty. I'm actually going to have a pretty complete RSP1A review. Pauvre Tisha, Jerry. 30 Diaper 21. KC9KUH loves his RSP2 Pro. Cool. Brent, the RSP1A is around $110, and I know the one that I have, which is a gift from one of my viewers, Simon Templar, and it came from a ham radio outlet, and I believe it was $109. I'd have to bring back the slip that I have, but I believe it's $109, and it's an amazing device. You can't go wrong with the RSP1A, I can tell you that. I can't even see anyone being unhappy with that one. Patrick Manny, wow, nice to have you on board, my friend. Oh, it is a big jump. It's actually a major. Honestly, it's really a major move ahead from any cheaper dongles. Kevin Wood, mon pays, ce n'est pas mon pays, c'est la bière. Yeah, I like that one. That's how we should change the song. Joking Krebs, beer comes from Stuttgart, Germany. Nice to have you on board. Prost. Oh yeah, Brent, absolutely. Craft beers, microbreweries are really changing totally what we drink now, and it's great. I like that. Oh yeah, Mick. Here too, there are actually quite a few pubs downtown Montreal that brew their own beer that you can taste. And there's actually one downtown Montreal where you can actually visit in the basement where all of that is being produced. And there's these huge barrels and pipes everywhere, and that they make their own. They make their own beer. Patrick Manny, is that white patch on your beard cat hair? No, it's my white patch is mostly to say that I'm getting older. Fish Cup, can you please give a quick rundown of your system to listen shortwave radio, RTLs, DR, including antenna? Okay, so I've got the right now what is being used here, and that's what is being used to listen to different things. I have the SDR Play RSP1A software-defined radio. It's a little black box. Doesn't look like much, but it's an amazing receiver. So I plug this to my PC. The software running it is SDR Uno, which is an amazing piece of software designed for the SDR Play receivers. The antenna, which comes in with a roughly 70 feet coax from the backyard, is a 75 feet long sloper antenna. So it's at an angle, east-west direction. I do live in the middle of a big city, so there's a lot of noise on it, but I still can listen to a lot of stuff. It's still pretty surprising. And so the RSP1A is what's running right now. But apart from that, I also have an ICOM ICR 8500. I've got a Yaesu FT450 transceiver. And I've got tons and tons of portable receivers also. Well, the RSP Duo does have a edge over the RSP1A. So apparently it's better, plus the fact that the Duo lets you listen to two frequencies at the same time, which does not, and has two separate antenna inputs for VHF and for HF. The RSP1A does not. Marcel said, to hear that voice of that senile old religious brother there, listen to 5900. Yeah, he isn't dead yet. He isn't dead yet. That's the worst. That's the worst. KC9KUH says, I need to get back playing with CSV files and get some lists made up. So the RSP1 review is coming in early next week. It will be multi-part. Joe Sabranuas, do you know if there's any ISS SSTV activity this weekend? Not that I know of. Not that I know of. I don't think they're going to be this weekend. Yeah, you can also buy directly from sdrplay.com. Absolutely, you can buy online. As KC9KUH says, the Duo is nice, but starting out, just start with the RSP1A or the 2. Absolutely. You know what, Jerry, I have a channel that I call Beer and Wine that I don't do nothing with, where I actually had the idea of, with my non-expert, you know, I like it when there's, you know, expert people talking about their stuff. I mean, you know, it's okay. But I like it when a regular folk that doesn't pretend to be anything, just with his taste buds, can just say, you know what, I like this wine or I like this beer for these reasons. And what I like to have with my wine or my beer is whatever sort of cheeses or whatever, you know. And I actually have a channel called the Beer and Wine Channel that I have 4 or 5 videos on it. One talking about, I believe, is Zubrovska. What do we have? I have Zubrovska vodka. I maybe have 3 or 4 videos and that's it. And I thought that could be interesting. And finally I just let it go. But I would have enjoyed doing it for sure. Matt says, I'm an RSP2 Pro owner and I would recommend the RSP1A over it. It's more advanced. Oh, interesting. Thanks for the comment, Matt. You know, Brent, like I always say, if you don't drink beer, you know, drink whatever your favorite drink. It could be coffee, it could be tea, it could be root beer, it could be whatever. It doesn't matter. Oh yeah, Matt, that's true. In September in the Great American Beer Festival, beer and radio. That would be great, Matt. I'm working out the details because I am working out all the details to be at the Winter Shortwave Festival next year. So of course, by September, I'll have everything ready to go to the U.S. So I need to check out and go to Colorado. That I need to check it out for sure. That would be fun. It would actually be fun to meet everybody. It's kind of cool. Tony Turtle, is it true you can't buy whiskey at the beer store and vice versa? Okay. Here the alcohol sale is controlled by something called the Société des Alcools du Québec. So it's a government-owned entity that sells alcohol. So you already see the problem. When a government sells alcohol, yeah, nothing can go wrong, right? So, hard liquor, like whiskey, stuff like that, you have to go at a official government SAQ store to get it. It's only sold there. They also have beer over there, but different beers. It's not like the regular beers of the grocery stores. At the grocery stores and at like a dépanneur, like for you guys in the US, like a 7-Eleven or whatever. There you'll get the local beer. Yeah, there's a lot of microbrewery beers that show up. There's a little bit of wine, but if you want wine, you better go to the official government store, because that's where you'll get the best wine. Ones that are sold in the grocery stores is like the cheap wine that most people don't want to drink. So yeah, it's a separate thing. And there's been in the past couple of years a push so that, whatever alcohol be sold wherever, instead of having that difference. And there's a lot of taxes here on the alcohol. And it's funny because I got a few friends of mine that buy beer and buy wine and buy stuff and say, well, there's so much taxes. And I always tell them, you know what? There are things where taxes, I don't care. Having taxes on wine, on beer, on any alcohol, it's okay. I got no problem with that. You don't have to buy beer or, wine or liquor, or it's not something you have to. It's okay. I don't care about, there's a lot of taxes. To give you guys an idea, a friend of mine went to France and was telling me that a bottle of champagne that is sold here for like $150 Canadian, in France, he had it for like 15 euros. So 15 euros is like 22 bucks Canadians. So you got to calculate that. Let's say that they sold it 20 bucks to the government here, the government store. So the government store wants to make its own money on it, so they they double the price. We're at, from 20 we go to 40, but we got all the taxes over it, and then we get to 100 and something. The major portion of any alcohol you buy in Quebec, it's like 60 or 70% of the price is taxes that you're paying to the government. Gives you an idea. Just crazy. Well, I got a 921 Balun here, but you don't necessarily need a Balun for an SDR. It's like a regular radio. Think of an SDR as the regular radio, honestly. KC9KUH says where it needs to work out some QRM, I believe, coming from the HDMI. Yeah, it's possible. Bobby says, y'all come to Louisiana to the Shrimp and Petrofest in Morgan City, Louisiana on the first weekend of September. You'll be in competition with Matt now. Yeah, Popular Communications. Not Popcom, it was Popular There's another one. It's not Popular Communications. Shitty Pyro 90, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. You know what? I actually like any type of alcohol as long as it's... I don't like strong stuff. Whiskey, for example, I can't. I just can't. But I do like vodka. Certain types, like Grey Goose. Between wine and beer, I like both. It depends on the wine and it depends on the beer, honestly. I do like wine with with food, like, it's kind of cool, Matt says it's October 3rd, 5th, so it won't be competition. And Malson wants a beer pool. Kimberly says team coffee. I like coffee, so everything's all right. Oh yeah, and yeah, everybody respect. Absolutely, everybody. It's pretty cool. KC9KOH, would it be nice to go to Dayton to Hamfest? I'd like to see that. I hear the Dayton Hamfest is so huge and so amazing. That would be a nice thing for sure. Eddie SX says you need to do a live show next October in Kitchener, Ontario, the Oktoberfest. Ha! Brent says wine is fine, but beer is better. It depends. I don't like to have beer when I eat. I'd rather have wine. Minopoo, nice to have you here. Hey, Richard Tribble, nice to have you on board. It's nice to have you on board. What do we have here? Good old Mash says SAQ for wine in Griffith Park. Yeah, you gotta go there if you want to have the good wine, because the wine at the grocery store is really bad. Charity X says for the $15 euro bottle, why factor in the cost for airfare, hotel, stay for 1 day and get that one bottle in France? Yeah, pretty much. Kevin Wood says in Ontario until the 70s, early 70s, one had to fill out a paper form, and president of the counter person who would get your bottle from the shadows and present it in brown paper gag. Oh God. Oh man. Well, no, I don't have expensive taste, but I do like a good, if I have to have alcohol of some time, I'm not drinking to get drunk. I'm more of a drinker that wants to taste this different stuff and the different aromas and the different flavors of a beer or wine or stuff like that. My brother is a champagne guy. He's the guy. Every time I've drank champagne was at my brother's. He's got like tons of these bottles of very expensive. And every time, we end up. It always is the same thing with my brothers. Like we start with have a few beers, then we start eating and we have wine, and it ends up where at the end of the evening it's like, well, let's bring out the champagne. And it's like, he tells me all of these aromas and tastes and it's like and flavors, and I'm like, I don't see them, but I'm not a sophisticated drinker, but I don't want to have the cheap stuff either. I mean, cheap stuff is bad. Firefly J8 SBS, nice to have you here. Take care, Ray Erdink. It's nice to have you here. Mick says, this is a great stream. Eric comes here for a shortwave discussion and we end up discussing booze and computers. We discuss everything here. It's not just radio, it's everything. And And I get, once again, all the comments of people saying, you shouldn't drink alcohol during a live stream, or you shouldn't talk about that, or yeah, I get part of it. I mean, it's all a question of being capable of drinking correctly. Baby Duck. Oh man, Kevin wouldn't know. I remember there were tons of ads for Baby Duck when I was in the 80s. I remember seeing that on TV all the time. It's like, what the hell? What the hell? It's just crazy. Just crazy. Hey guys, we've been on for 3 hours and 10 minutes. It was a lot of fun to be here. I will share once again the PayPal, and if you want to join in and give me a little something if you like the show, could be for beer donations or whatever. It could be for whatever you like. If you like to what I do, please consider a little donation, a little something. And tomorrow we're back at 2000 hours UTC. So we're gonna, just be back, and we'll have a lot of fun, and we'll of course be talking about radio, hopefully most of the time. So hope everybody enjoyed today's show. 3 hours and 11 minutes, not too bad of a run. Another show coming back tomorrow, so be here, 2000 hours UTC as usual. So a Saturday airing, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And now I am going to cook some, I don't know. I'm going to, I think I'm going to have some, I'm going to, I don't know what to eat. I'll be thinking about it. So see you tomorrow, guys. I love you all. Always fun to have you here. And I think I'll have ribs or something. Barbecue ribs or something. It'll be good. Take care, my friends. Love you all. It's always a lot of fun to have everybody here. See you tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC, for another Shortwave radio show. Take care, my friends. Love you all. Stay safe, please. Update your Google Chrome browser to the latest versions. Very important, because there's a huge security flaw. And bye.